Everyone deserves to know the truth. Let me break it to you. Most people in this world, they're NPCs, non-playable character consciousness. And tonight, as we take this walk, we're going to leave this conversation tonight knowing that everyone deserves to know the truth. Hello everyone, I am Michael and I help guide people on the evolutionary journey. Years ago, I saw that there was a very tremendous problem in this world. And I realized that people, they're not living from a place of authenticity. They're actually not even living for themselves. They're living off of subconscious programs and limiting beliefs. And I'm going to share an experience that I had prior to me starting this mission, helping to awaken millions of people. And when you start to realize that people are controlled by fear, people are controlled by programs that they got from the TV or somebody else that's outside of them, and they went about their life in an operating system loaded with fear, and it actually ruins the experience of life. It ruins love and relationships. Heck, it ruins your free will existence. And you know, when a person is so overcome with fear that they see from the programs that they give you on the TV, the programs that they give you from generation after generation, and you yourself, you are here on this message tonight, you're able to break free from all the distractions that come from the world. You know, I'm leaving this message right now, and you know, I got a little distraction hovering above. It actually popped up prior to me beginning this, and some of you will see that. And these are the signs from the universe that show us, you know, what's the important messages that have to go out. And you're going to be bombarded with distractions, so you don't even see the quote-unquote light of day. You know, I'm at my favorite place in the world, the beach, right? And I feel at home when I'm at the beach, and it's part of my everyday life. And I could recall, you know, years ago, prior to me even, you know, starting my very first YouTube video, and you know, when I was just, you know, just living my everyday life, and I started to say to myself, you know, why are people not so happy, and how are they operating from a place of programs that were given to them? And you know what? They're actually disregarding happiness, fun. You know, I'm out here. I could see families enjoying themselves, people enjoying themselves, couples enjoying themselves. But this beautiful experience can be absolutely destroyed. And I remember many years ago, so it was over 7 years ago, I happened to you know, start dating this person, and I said, you know, let's go to the beach. You know, let's go to the beach. You know, we'll go. And she came one time, and you know, she didn't really like the beach. She was very you know, against it. You know, sun, too much sun. The sun's not good for you. And you know, the person was afraid because of what people put in her head about the sun, about the beach. And you know, I recall her, you know, lathering up, you know, so much of that spray sunblock. You know, sometimes I see people out here and they start spraying, right? They start to spray down. And I kind of avoid breathing it in, like maybe you might avoid someone that's smoking and you don't want to breathe it in. So I, on my journey, I stay away from that, you know, and I don't want to breathe any of that in. So I remember her, spraying that down and, saying to myself, this person is overcome with the fear. And it kind of ruined that experience of that beautiful beach day. And, just taking this one example, that a program of the sun and being so scared of the sun. I recently saw a video and the interview, believe it was Diary of the CEO. He had a doctor on, and he was talking about how this 15-year-old boy, his only wish, he was not doing too good, close to death. His only wish was to go outside, and he went outside, and after a couple of days, because his immune system and what he was going through was so taxed, he actually was able to start healing. And he was out in the sunlight. And, on your journey, you'll be surprised how healing the sun is. And, when we go forward with our life and think about how, the sun makes you feel, a lot of people in life, they're not tuned to themselves. You got to tune in. You got to tune into your internal GPS navigational system. And, when you start to see when, distractions pop up, and heck, you know what? I think the sun makes me feel tremendous. And people ignore it and they say to themselves, why do I feel so good? But the man on the TV told me that the sun is not good for me. So I'm going to, avoid the beach, avoid, being out in nature, avoid all these beautiful things. I could reflect a little bit later on, just having a conversation with this person at the time. And, she just asked me questions, and, she wanted me to, maybe agree with her that at the time, the president, she wanted me to say nasty things. And I said, well, I didn't agree with that. And she got really mad. And I remember she took her fist and she started punching her other hand. It was very strange, and, because the TV maybe told her that she had to hate someone, and if other people didn't hate this person, they would ruin, maybe, a companionship, a relationship, a friendship, whatever it might be. So when I reflect back in time, this was an everyday life experience for me. I meet a person and, they're not really there. They're operating from, the subconscious programs of fear. You could be fearful of a person, and that fear of being out in the sun, and it literally ruins everything. And, I could reflect back and, this was also a person that, maybe claimed to be spiritual. And, I remember her going into her garden and, getting the vegetables and the vegan and all this other stuff. But in our lives, are we operating from our free will? Or are we just doing what they tell you on the TV? Or are we just doing what, society tells you? Or are we just doing what the fake social media gurus out there are telling you? What are we actually doing in our everyday life? So in a world, there's going to be a lot of distractions, and everything's going to try to stop you from becoming the best version of yourself. And what you need to do on your journey is stay focused on what you want to accomplish, because the truth can change lives, and everyone deserves to know the truth. If you were told a lie and you operated out of this lie, a person that, maybe was programmed that, the sun is scary, get out of the sun, maybe their life would have went a different path. And, that might have, influenced that person's life in a negative way, or putting anger on a person, programming the mind that you're supposed to hate people that don't hate this individual that, is depicted or told. All right. In your life, you can't do things because the TV told me. You can't do things because your narcissistic friends told you. You don't do things because fake influencers out there tell you you need to do it. You have to do it from the inside. You got to go to the I am presence. As I've shared for many years, you need to know thyself. And I hope everyone in the comments today writes, know thyself. Everyone deserves to know the truth, all right? Awareness is the precursor to change. And on my journey, I learned many truths, you know? And when I learned these truths, I was aware of it. And then with the precursor to change, now I implement the changes for my everyday life and I see the improvements. But going out in the world, I see people that they're not operating correctly and they're living somebody else's life. I shared this with the community. We are leaving a life of obligation and we're headed to a life of creation. You might have felt like you were obligated. You were obligated to follow whatever the label was, right? Or whatever the system that you were born into, or maybe you thought was the right thing. And I've seen this. I've seen this with some of my buddies that were into sports. And, it's not just about the team logo anymore, right? It's about the content of character in people, right? And just using that everyday life example, you could break free. Everyone deserves to know the truth. And most of this world are just people with NPC consciousness, non-playable characters. And the reason for this, why they're a non-playable character, is because they're only operating from the program that has been given to them. They're not thinking for themselves. They're not living their everyday life. And it's sad. It's sad. Some people in this world can live to 99 years old and they never even lived their everyday life. If that message resonates with you, hit the like button tonight and click the subscribe button and take the journey of our everyday lives. It's time to change. It's time to switch off the NPC mode and turn on creator mode. We're setting sail, right? And we're sailing forward to new destinations, new heights. And where's the destination? The destination is unknown. You were told you had a finish line. There is no finish line, kid, right? It never changes. There is no finish line to life. You're constantly growing, you're constantly evolving, and when you're just operating out of that program, that's not actually living and growing. If you're on this message and you're still tuned in, you might have had people in your life say, you changed, and maybe they're angry at you. And you could turn around and you could look them right in the eye and say, yeah, and you're the same since 2020. What a joke. What have you done? If you're the same person since 2020, you've wasted all these years. Out here tonight on the front line, I've built a legacy. I built a foundation with God that cannot be moved. This is how you shift. You have to shift from NPC mode. You get to creator mode, and you realize that you're creating your everyday life. Over the course of many years as the observer, and I observed people. I saw people throw relationships away. I saw people throw their health away. I saw people throw everything away for something outside of themselves. Wake TF up. Wake up, son. And let this be the video that wakes you up and snaps you out of it. Sometimes you got to wake them up, okay? And that's what we're out here to do. We got to wake up. We can't fall for the distractions because we're setting sail. We're setting sail to new lands, to new opportunities. And if you get this message and maybe you were operating out of fear, and I did a full video on the NPC consciousness. You can watch it after this one. You know, you got to watch the reticular activating system, and you have to know that the TV programmed you for fear, okay? And this is how we're wired in our nervous system since birth, to avoid danger at all costs because we have to stay alive. I hope today helps us all understand that everyone deserves to know the truth. And if you had the truth, if you were conscious and aware of the truth, you might have lived a totally different life. And I'm out here sharing the truth tonight. I love each and every one of you. If tonight's message resonates with you, please click the like button and click the subscribe button if you're ready to take the journey of self-discovery and remembering. Oh yeah, baby. Remember who you are. Remember the power that you possess. And remember, we cannot control what is around us. However, we can control from within. Be conscious that the light of Christ is within the Sacred Heart. Use this to raise your vibration and increase your electromagnetism. Life is so much better when we are all together. If you find this message inspiring or know someone that could benefit from it, please share this message. Dear ones, I am Michael. Find us in the 5th dimension. Have a wonderful day living your everyday life. I have seen God face to face. And the name of the place is called Peniel. Wake up. Strap on the full armor of God. Because this reality is coming to an end, kid. And we're out here on the front line, bringing it to an end ourselves. Everyone deserves to know the truth. And the truth cannot be told. It can only be realized. Don't forget it, kid. Many have fallen. Now we rise. I am the defender of our everyday lives. No matter what comes your way, light warriors, just keep going. And now, the fun has begun.